Hello everyone, and it's BioPhoenix here, and holy shit, it's been a very long time since I've actually been on camera and for my YouTube channel, because yeah, I haven't done a pickup video in since 2019. Yeah, I didn't do any in 2020, and I don't really think I need to explain why. I mean, I think anyone knows all the shit that was going on around that time, and of course, I didn't want to go out and buy up a bunch of things, because I had responsible other things to take care of, which I think everyone did. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, I just wanted to sit down and felt like wanted to talk about some pickups of random shit I got. And it's not just, and this time I'm not only gonna do just video games, because I'm actually starting to get into a lot of other collecting other stuff, like music, movies, and books, and all that. So I'm gonna include all that here this time. So that's gonna be kind of interesting, at least for me. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people that are gonna be watching this, they're gonna only watch for the video games, and then as soon as I get to the other shit, they're just gonna leave, which is fine. I get it, but. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the more recent stuff that I got, just random shit, and just talk about it, and hopefully, this will make for some good background, noise for you guys to listen to when you're doing your other things or something, because, I don't know, I just really like talking about random stuff. So, anyways, let's just get right to it. Alright, so let's get the video games out of the way first, because that's probably what everyone wants to know about. And the first game we got here is actually the most recent one that I got, and that happens to be Live Alive, or Live Alive, or something. Hopefully there's not too much glare or anything, but yeah, so this is a game that is a remake of a Super Nintendo game, and it was one that I've always wanted to try out, but just never did, because as you know, I have, access to, a shit ton of games to play, so sometimes it's kind of hard to manage through them all. But then when this got announced, I was like, you know what, this would be a good time for me to get it, because I'm always up there for wanting to support, weird, quirky games like this getting, re-released and remade and remastered and all that kind of shit. Because, this is the type of shit I want. I want more, Japanese games that were exclusive there getting released outside of here for the first time, officially. I'm always up for that shit. So, yeah, I've actually been playing this quite a lot. I did most of the stories in this. There's only 3 left I have left to do, which is the little robot thing. I actually just started that one. The old Chinese dude and the prehistoric kid. I did all the other ones, and I can definitely say out of the ones that I did, I think I like the future one, the one where your guy has telekinesis and he can read people's minds, and and there's also mechs in there and shit, so it's fucking awesome. That's probably my favorite one. But yeah, I will say this game is not a traditional RPG, because of the fact that all these character stories they play pretty differently, or they have a lot of focuses on different things. And depending on the story that you start on, you might start off with a character story where all you're doing is literally just going through text, and there's only going to be 2 fights, and then it's over. And all that, so that's something to keep in mind. But I do like it though, and like I said, I'm glad to finally play this, and the graphics are really nice, and the music is great. Next up we got is another Switch game, and this is yet again another remake of a SNES game, and that happens to be Pokken Rocky Reshrined. And yes, this is actually the Japanese version, which is all the cover art's basically the same. I just got this because I ordered it off of PlayAsia, and it was coming, a lot sooner than the North American version. I was like, okay, I'll just stick with this. And besides, it's a freaking shoot-'em-up. You don't really need to know, whole Japanese and shit. But this game actually does have an English option, by the way, so, so whatever. It doesn't really matter, but... Anyways, yeah, I've always loved the series. I've always enjoyed it. I know I did a video talking about the series years ago. I think it was the old retrospective thing that I used to do. And yeah, this remake is really damn good. At first, it kind of starts out looking very similar to the first game, the same similar level layout and such. But as you get further into the level, there is some noticeable differences. They added new little areas. Also, the bosses are a lot more crazy and over the top, and they have a lot more different patterns. I remember the first boss, that that little bald-headed thing that shoots out all the seeds at you. He has a lot more different forms to him, which is crazy. Yeah, I will say the difficulty in this game is a lot harder than the originals, but then again, it just might just be me, because I know the original games, I spent a fair bit of time on them. I was never great at them, but I could always get, like, pretty decently far into them. This one, I only got to, like, I think, like, the 4th stage. And then after that, like, I just, like, just kind of just haven't really played more of it, though. But I can definitely say it is a really great game, but it is definitely still a pretty tough one, though. Alright, and as for the last video game we got here, this is one that's also, well, it's not really a remake, it's actually kind of a collection of older games, but yes, older games are all from, like, the same generation, it seems. And that happens to be the Valkyrae Collection. Because, you know, this is another thing I was just really happy that they're actually doing, because I thought this was a series that was just long gone and dead, and I'm glad that this is a thing. So yes, this is basically a collection of the first 3 games on the PC Engine CD. So I've reviewed all of them in one video, and as you know, the first one and the 3rd one are fucking awesome. I love them. The second one, I'm not crazy about it, but you know, but the fact that they included it in here, you know, I'm not gonna complain too much. There's actually a part 2 to this coming out this fall. They'll have like the 4th one on PC Engine and like a one on the Genesis and all that. So, but yeah, I can say this is a pretty good collection. And yes, as again, this is the Japanese version. Mainly because I don't really want to bother trying to get that English version from Limited Run, because, you know, I don't deal with that shit. So I decided to just get this. And besides, the reverse cover of this one's actually a lot nicer than the Limited Run one. Like, I don't know how well you can see that, but it basically, you see, like, it has, like, little, like beta, like, concept art, which I think is cool. So yeah, that's why I got the Japanese version. And as again, like, you know, I know, like, all about these games already, so I don't really need to know, like, the story in it, you know, it's all typical shit. But, yeah, as again, like I said, I'm just happy that we actually got more Valkyrae stuff, and, you know, hopefully they might make a new game one day with, like, new, like, really awesome hand-drawn graphics. I would fucking love that. Alright, now this is where everyone's gonna leave the video now, so, see you later. But in case you're still here, then kudos, but, so now we're gonna get into the movies, and I actually did get one anime, Blu-ray. I'll get that one out of the way first, since, you know, at least that's something that I've actually, you know, I do cover on the channel. And this one here is, Battle Doll, Angelic Layer. So, I picked this up because I randomly found it in my area, and I thought it looked kind of cool, and besides, you know, whenever you do see, like a fairly cheap Blu-ray around, like, brand new, I was like, yeah, I figured I might as well try it, and besides, it's from, like, the era that I tend to like. So yeah, this is actually from a Clamp anime, and as you know, I do tend to like a lot of their art styles, and a lot of their shows are pretty damn good, I'd say. You know, my favorite is still Magic Knight Rayearth, but yeah, so this one, I only, like, remember, like, sort of what it's about. So what this one's about is that it's about this chick, she plays, like, this, like, video game, and she creates, like, a little avatar, which is, like, this, like, red, pink-haired thing, and then apparently she, like, comes to life or something. Like, it has something to do with that. Like, there's a little bit of, like, you know, virtual reality type thing. But, yeah, I think it's, 25 episodes long, so I hope I can get around watching this soon. I probably will eventually, once I get my actual Blu-ray player all hooked up and stuff, because I still haven't hooked up all that shit yet, though, but yeah, like I said, for the price I paid for this, I was not going to complain, and besides, you know, I'm always down to watch another Clamp anime that I've never seen before. And now, onto the live-action movies, and this one right here is a movie that, you know, is considered a classic at this point, and I've seen it a couple of times years ago, but I was surprised that I actually never owned a copy of it, and it happens to be Reservoir Dogs. And yes, I have it sealed. Oh my god, it's sealed. I'm gonna, like, write it and give it to Wada. No. But, no, eventually I will actually open it, though. I mean, you know, like I said, I still need to set up my Blu-ray player, but yeah. I don't really know what else I can add to this that already hasn't been said before. I mean, a lot of people consider it to be Quentin Tarantino's best film, and I would agree. I think this might be my #1 favorite. Either #1 or #2. I don't know, it's hard to say, but yeah, no, I love this film. Probably one of my favorite scenes in it is the film where, like, he's giving out, like, their names, and then he's like, and you over there, you're Mr. Pink, and he's like, well, why am I Mr. Pink? And then, of course, yeah, he says a very, offensive word there, but just, the way how he says it is just fucking funny, and then they all start arguing, and it's like, Mr. Brown? Well, more like Mr. Shit. Yeah, I love that shit too much. And next up is another one that I've seen before, but yet I never owned a copy of it, and that happens to be Misery, the Stephen King, based after the Stephen King novel. And this is a film I actually watched with my dad years ago, believe it or not. Yeah, so, yeah, no, because my dad is a huge, like, Stephen King fan and all that, so, you know, like, I used to watch, like, a lot of, like, movies based after his work because of him, and, yeah, this was one of them, and, yeah, this film is really good. Now, I haven't read the book yet, but I've always wanted to. I actually do own a copy of the book, but, we'll get to it eventually. But I can say that this movie is really damn good, though, and I have heard that it is very similar to the book, and people do say, like, oh, yeah, like, the movie is, like, just as fucking good as the book, so that's always good to know. But for those out there that don't know what this is about, in case you're living under a rock, it's basically about this dude who's, like, a writer, and then he gets up getting caught in, like, an accident, and then this, like, chick, like, saves him, and then turns out that the chick is actually, like, a crazy obsessed fan of, like, his books, and ends up, like, torturing the poor guy, so it's very intense, and all that, and the acting is just fucking awesome, so, yeah, just really great film. And next up, we got another horror thriller type film, and that happens to be Frailty, with Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, which is pretty fucking cool. Now, I haven't seen this movie, but I have heard a lot about it. I know, shit, I can't remember the name of the channel, but there was a channel that I was subscribed to that did, like, a movie collection video, and he talked about this one briefly, and I remember it sounding, like, really interesting, so that's why I always wanted to try and get it, and I finally did. And, yeah, from what I remember of this, it's kind of like a detective movie. Like, I know, like, there's a string of murderers, and the murderer is literally called the God Hand, which is funny, because I can't help but think of the PS2 game. But, yeah, no, like I said, other than that, I don't remember, like, what else happens in it there, but I have heard that it was really good. If you guys have seen this movie, then, you know, let me know. But I have heard a lot of good things about it that kind of got me interested. Alright, and these next two are ones I'm going to show at the same time, because they're both Arnold films, and that happens to be, Commando and Predator. Yeah, so I got both of these. Yeah, so I'm actually trying to get, like, most of, like, the Arnold films that I really love, and I don't have many of them, so it was kind of, like, sad that, like, I don't have many of them, even though I am a fan. But I've seen, like, a lot of them, I just never owned them, well, at least owned many of them. But now I finally own these, so, yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know what else I could say, because, you know, there's just so much, like, good shit about these films. There's fun action, just some, like, cool-ass iconic scenes, like, you know, I remember, you know, with Predator, you got the one scene where he's like, Dylan, you son of a bitch, and then right after that, he's like, so what, they caught you pushing too many pantses? Yeah, I love that. And then, you know, in Commando, like, you know, there's the scene where he has, like, that, like, bazooka that looks like, the Grim Reaper from fucking Black Ops, and then he just, like, blows the shit out of everything and all that, and there's many other great one-liners there. You know, I could just turn this into a whole fucking, like, one-liner show if I was just talking about, like, Arnold movies, but I'll just leave it at that. They're just fucking great-ass films. Alright, we got one more movie, and it's a pretty interesting one, and that happens to be Jackie Chan's City Hunter. Yes, this is actually based after the anime, you know, the anime City Hunter, but with Jackie Chan in it, so it's, like, really fucking cool. But, yeah, so, I haven't seen this yet, but I have seen clips of this online, and I can say that it definitely seems like a lot of fun. I know there's a scene in here where he ends up dressing up as, like, Street Fighter characters, and there's even a part where he even dresses up as Chun-Li, which is fucking hilarious, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and getting around to watching this one, but yeah, I've heard a lot of, like, really, like, fun and amusing things about it, so yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun, and besides, you really can't go wrong with, like, Jackie Chan, really. Alright, now we're gonna be talking about some music CDs I got, and, I actually got quite a bit this year, but I'm not gonna go over all of them, I'm just gonna go over, like, a handful, and, this one right here is a very interesting one, and that happens to be, Annery with the album Timely, and yes, it actually came with this, like, cool little, like slip case, and it actually has, like, a bunch of goodies inside, but it's kind of a bitch to take out, so I'm not gonna do that right now. But yeah, I really love this album cover. In fact, I actually remember listening to this album on YouTube, and it was in my recommendation, and I listened to it just based after the cover, and I ended up really liking it. So yeah, this is like a pop album, like city pop, like whatever the hell they call it now. where, you know, it's like very catchy, has some like nice summertime vibes. I really dig it a lot. Like, probably my two favorite songs on here would have to be Can't Stop the Loneliness and Windy Summer. Like, but I mean, the whole album is just really damn good though. So yeah, definitely worth checking out on YouTube if you're a fan of that stuff. Alright, next album is another Japanese album, and that is Tatsuya Yamashita with For You, as in This Is For You. And yeah, I really love the artwork on here. In fact, the artwork was actually done by Aizen Suzuki, the same guy that did all the artwork for Hori Katsumi Project. Yeah, so yeah, this is more of a kind of similar to the same thing as Andri a little bit. Like, does have a lot of like, you know, that summertime vibe feels, has a lot of you know, like saxophone and all that, and it also just has some really nice guitars and all that too. So, you know, very similar to that. If you really like that album, you'll probably really like this too. I really like this one a lot. I love just about every song on it except for like one, but then again, it's not like the worst thing ever. But yeah, just a very, very cool album. Alright, and next up is a not Japanese album. It's actually a hard rock album, and that happens to be Hardline with Double Eclipse. So this is a really great hard rock band. This is actually their very first album, and how I found out about this band was because of Johnny Giolelli, or whatever his name is. He is the lead singer, and he's actually one of my all-time favorite singers. You know, I love him for Axel Verdi Pell, and of course most people know him from you know, Crush 40, because you know Crush 40 is the group that does all the Sonic music, so that's kind of how I, you know, first discovered from that. And yeah, this band is just really kick-ass, really love it a lot, with songs like Life's a Bitch, Rhythm from a Red Car, you know, Hot Cherry. That's actually a pretty good cover, I will say. And then I'll Be There. Yeah, just really, really good-ass hard rock tunes. Really love the guitar work and everything. Just really, really kick-ass band that I just think is just very underrated. Alright, next up is Greta Van Fleet. And this is their recent album, which is called Battle at at Garden's Gate. And I will say, this album cover is very cool looking. I love the little like gatefold like that. It looks fucking awesome. I really hope you guys can see this shit. If not, this will all be for nothing. But, yeah, so this is a newer band that sounds very similar. A lot of people compare these guys to Led Zeppelin, and yes, they definitely do have that sound, but I would also even say that they have a little bit of that, like, early Rush vibes, too. So, yeah, I really like them a lot. Like I said, like, you know, like, can we just be thankful that there's, like, a new band that's, like, even younger than me right now, that is actually making music of, like, the shit that I like, rather than going with the typical garbage mainstream stuff? Can we just be thankful that there are people out there that still, like, will make music like this? But, yeah, no, I really fucking love this album a lot. Like, songs like Broken Bells are just amazing. Age of Machine is great. The Barbarians is awesome, and then, of course, you know, The Weight of Dreams, like, the final track is just fucking killer. Like, yeah, man, like I said, like, if you love, like, a lot of those, like, old, you know, like, classic rock bands, like I said, like early Rush and, you know, like, early Led Zeppelin, I think you'll definitely really dig this shit. And next is a prog band, and that is Glass Hammer with Valkyrae. So, as again, another pretty cool cover. And so this is a band that I've always wanted to get into, but it was kind of hard for me to get into for one main reason. Every time I would look up their songs on YouTube, the YouTube videos, like, the audio quality was always fucking shit. And it would always, like, take me out of it. Like, I'd hear, like, a bit of the song, and I'm just like, the song sounds good, but, like, why is the audio, like, so crap? So I was like, okay, well, looks like I might as well just have to go out and buy their albums, which, you know, I should anyways, because they're really talented people, but yeah, no, but after listening to this shit, in good quality, I can say that this shit is really fucking good. So, like I said, it's prog rock, so there's a lot of, like, longer songs, so there's a lot of, like, you know, like, epic, like, keyboards, and, you know, like, guitar riffs, and, you know, all that, like, crazy stuff. Like, probably my favorite song on here would have to be Fog of War, like, such a good-ass song. And plus, I really love the female vocals in this band. Like, I think she's just fucking awesome. I think her name is, like, Susie something. I can't remember her last name right now. But yeah, just a really good, newer, like, prog rock band. They have, like, a ton of albums, too, and I only heard, like, I think, like, 3 of them. And next up we got is an old prog rock album, and that happens to be the band Camel with the album Nude. Yeah, Nude. Yeah, so whenever anyone ever asks you, send nudes, just send them this album, and they'll be satisfied. Probably. I mean, they should be, because I fucking love this album. So yeah, this is a album from the band Camel from 1981, and I really love it a lot. It has a lot of very interesting variety of instruments. Like, it has a lot of flute, has a lot of good rocking guitars, lots of good piano and shit. Like probably some of my favorite songs on here would be City Life is fucking awesome. I love that one. Then there's let's see, Captured, Beached, Draft, Lies is really great. A lot of instrumentals, like, it is more of an instrumental album, but it does have a few that do have, like, lyrics in it, though, but not a lot. But, yeah, though, like, I really enjoy this album a lot. I would actually say this is probably a top 5 Camel album for me, which might surprise some people, because usually this one doesn't rank super high with many people, but I love it a lot personally. Also, you just gotta love the quirky Japanese album cover. I like that that whole thing. It's just very bizarre, but kind of reminds me of something that would be in like LSD Dream Emulator or something. Alright, and the last 2 albums are metal albums, which is something that might surprise you that I haven't gotten a lot of metal albums, but I did get 2. And this one right here is Darkmore with Tear It. And I will say, this is probably one of my favorite Darkmore albums. I'm a pretty big fan of theirs. I actually find this album is just really great overall. In fact, all of the songs are named after all the different tarot cards. So, knowing all that, anyone that loves JoJo and Persona would probably love this fucking album. And rightfully so, because, I mean, it's great. So, yeah, you got songs like The Chariot, which I love, The Star, Wheel of Fortune, The Emperor, Death, The Lovers, and, The Moon, all that great shit. So yeah, no, I really love this album. It's, like, more, like, power metal, though. It's not, like, super cheesy like a lot of other power metal stuff, at least I don't find it to be. But then again, I don't mind the cheesy stuff, so that is something to keep in mind, but I do really enjoy this one, like, a hell of a lot. Like I said, like, I used to, like, download, like some of the songs off this album off of LimeWire back in the day, and then put them on my fucking iPod, and then just, like, rock the fuck out with a lot of these songs. I used to do that back in high school, but now I finally own the album, and yeah, it has some cool packaging. Alright, as for the last album, and yes, this is another metal album from the early 80s, and that happens to be Wasp. And yes, this is their very first album. So, it has a nice little case here, which I like. So yeah, this album is just really great. I actually really like Wasp quite a lot. Like, I find their songs are, like, both heavy and, like, super catchy. Like, with songs like I Wanna Be Somebody, Love Machine, Hellion, On Your Knees, all that good shit. Like, I love all that. It also has 2 bonus tracks, too, Show No Mercy and Painted Black, so, that's kind of interesting. But, yeah, man, I will say this is a very strong debut album from this band. Like I said, like, I think it's just really great, really catchy, just lots of really great riffs. Like, I love it a lot. Alright, now we're getting into the final section, and that is the books. Yes, I've actually been doing a lot of reading lately, believe it or not. And, first we're going to take a look at the manga, since, I'm sure there is a good number of manga people that watch my shit. In fact, this is a manga series that, that got turned into one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm sure you all know what it is, and that's Vampire Hunter D. And I actually got, like, a stack of them here. I got, like, 2 through 5. But, yeah, so that's really fucking cool. I'll show you, like, them all, like, one by one. But, yeah, so this is book 2. This one actually never got turned into a movie. And after reading through this one recently, I can kind of understand why they skipped over this one and moved on to the 3rd book, which is the one that got turned into Bloodlust. But this book is still really good. I just don't think, like, it's as hype as, like, the other one. But I would still like to see this one get made one day. And also, it's kind of interesting that the pages are purple. Well, at least, like, the edges are purple. Not, like, the actual pages themselves. Like, no, obviously, that's not purple. But, yeah. But no, like I said, good book, but I don't think it's as, like, amazing as you know, like the story from Bloodlust, which is this one right here. Yeah, this is book 3. This is the one that got turned into Bloodlust, like I've been saying. And, yeah, this book is just really fucking awesome, just like the movie. So, yeah, just really good shit. I don't really have much more to say since, you know, I've talked about Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust like a bajillion times on my channel, so. But yeah, they're really great. And then these 2 I haven't read yet. I am going to. So yeah, we got book 4. I don't really know a whole lot about the stuff afterwards. I remember reading the descriptions of them, like, years ago, but, you know, I haven't, like, looked at them again, like, recently. But as, again, you know, you get cool covers and all that. And, then we got book 5, which is the last one I have here. Oh, wait, is this one upside down? Yeah. Yeah, it was upside down. Well, I mean, it could work, you know. But, yeah, I think there is 7 of these that got published over here, and I would like to get them all just because I can, and because, you know, I love Vampire Hunter D, and I would love just to get them all, but I have heard that they did make big omnibus versions of the novel, which I definitely will try and get, so, you know, that's really fucking cool. Alright, and now we got 2 more novels, and yes, I said novels, so meaning that these are books with no, like, pictures in them. Well, actually one of them does have some illustrations in there, but I'll get there. But yes, they're both books from Stephen King, and that happens to be 11/22/63. So this is actually one of his newer books, and when I mean newer, I mean like 2010, 2011, I think that was when this book came out. But yeah, so this is one of his newer ones that I was not familiar with for the longest time, because I was mostly familiar with like the older ones, because, you know, I watched like most of the movies that they got adapted into. But, yeah, so this one, like, from the basic premise that I know, is that it's about some guy who has, like, time travel powers, and he wants to prevent the assassination of JFK. Which sounds really interesting, but of course, apparently it goes, like, way more into other shit. But it sounded really interesting, and I heard that this book is, like, one of, like, the best things he's written since, like, The Stand and It, and all, like, those, like, great classic ones, so I really want to read this someday. You know, as you can tell, it's a big fucking brick book, so it might take me some time to get to this one, because I do want to read some of his other stuff before I get to, like, the big mammoth-sized ones, but yeah, like I said, I can't wait to get through this one, because I think I'm really gonna like this one. Alright, and the final thing in this video is actually one of the more, underrated Stephen King books, or, you know, the more ones that doesn't get talked about that much, and that happens to be The Eyes of the Dragon, which is with its very bright green and red cover, which is very simplistic looking, but I kind of like it though. I don't know, I just like the color scheme, I just think it just looks cool. And yes, with this little bookmark here, yes, I have a Garfield bookmark. Reason why I got Garfield was because at the bookstore, I needed an actual proper, like, bookmark, and that was all they had, and I was like, fuck it, I'll take it. So, yeah. So yeah, I actually did started to read this one, as you can tell, not very far at all. I literally just started this last night, and so I can't say a whole lot, because, you know, it's still very early, but for those that don't know, this is actually Stephen King's first full-fledged fantasy book, and this one is actually aimed at a younger audience, because he actually wrote this book for his daughter, which is pretty cool, you know, like, I gotta give him credit for, you know, for him just doing whatever the fuck he wants, because he actually got a lot of shit for making this book, and people were like, oh, what the fuck, man, you're the horror guy, that's all you have to do. In fact, I've actually heard a story that apparently, like, the backlash that he received from making this book kind of led him to create Misery, which I literally just talked about not long ago, so, you know, that's kind of neat. But, yeah, like I said, it's a fantasy book. Apparently this book has a lot of elements from The Shawshank Redemption, which kind of gets me interested to wanting to read through more of it. But yeah, it's actually not a long book. It's, as you can tell, it's not, like, super thick or anything. But, so hopefully this won't take me too long to read through, and I'll tell you more about it someday eventually, if you guys give a shit. And that'll be it for the pickup video. It's probably a long one, given like how much shit I just covered there, but then again, I kind of like doing this shit. I just think it's fun, and I'll probably try and do this more often, like whenever I can there, but I can't say they'll happen as often as they did with like when I used to do the pickup videos years ago. But yeah, so tell me what you think about all this stuff. If you guys have any other like thoughts you want to give out for yourself, if you experienced them or anything. And yeah, so with that said, thank you for watching, commenting, and have yourselves a great day.